Hey, what's going on? It's your favorite freight dispatch trainer, Antoine West, back at you guys with another video. So in this video, I wanted to come on live and I wanted to talk about the port strike that's supposed to start happening at midnight tonight. So on October 1st, ports on the East Coast and southern coast of the United States are supposed to go on strike. The union members and the ports haven't reached an agreement, and I think they're having some difficulty reaching an agreement on pay and automation. The employees don't want automation brought in because that could potentially, of course, get rid of their jobs, and they want higher pay. They haven't had a pay raise in years. So we're going to get right into this news video here and see what's going on with this port strike supposed to be happening tonight at midnight. And this could be very devastating for our country and our economy. A lot of people are saying this will be maybe the final blow to the American economy. So we're going to watch this video and I'll let you guys know my thoughts when it comes to trucking and freight dispatch.
Tens of thousands of port workers from Maine to Texas have to strike when the clock strikes midnight tonight. This all happening over a pay dispute. The International Longshoremen's Association demanding a 77% pay raise increase over 6 years and more guarantees their industry will not be upended by the addition of automation. Last night, the ILA confirmed its workers will be striking. The strike could cost the economy up to $5 billion per day and lose more than $7 billion in GDP per week. President Biden yesterday again saying he will not stand in their way. Watch.
Mr. President,
So this could cost the American economy $5 billion per day. That's $5 billion. Also, if you guys haven't stocked up on supplies, food, you may want to go stock up now because it looks like this port strike is going to go down tonight at midnight.
will you intervene in the dock workers strike if they go on strike on Tuesday?
No,
Why not?
because it's collective bargaining. I don't believe in Taft Hartley.
Joining me now is Alba Wheels up.
So the president has said he's not going to get involved between the union members and the ports. So it doesn't look like we're going to get any help from our federal government.
International founder and chairman Salvatore Stile. And Salvatore, thank you for being here with us. So give us your I mean, it looks that we are going to have a strike tonight unless something changes.
If I was a betting man, which I'm not, I would bet that probably 99 probability percentile of having a strike. I understand that will be some what's called wildcat walk-offs, and that means some rogue longshoremen might start walking off around 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock this afternoon without the sanction of the union, but nevertheless walk off and have their own little posse, so to speak, that would just start leaving or slow down.
The big issue seems to be that automation.
Automation.
Yeah, and the International Longshoremen's Association, they're demanding a total ban on automation at gates, cranes, all the moving containers that load and unload the cargo. You say, look, you know, U.S. ports are already behind in automation on a global scale, and that could further hurt our nation when it comes to exports and imports.
Yes, we're in the lower quartile, actually, of efficiency with the world container analysis going on. So automation is really a must at the very basic level. We're in a situation here, and I always like using some examples to compare to. It's like if you have a bank and you have a teller, and now they have ATM machines. Well, if this was the ILA, they wouldn't want ATM machines, or they wouldn't want Easy Pass or Fast Pass going into a tunnel or a bridge, all told. So regardless, they just want basically all their members to have jobs, irrespective of the consequences.
We had Chris Spear on at the top of the show this morning at 6 a.m. He represents the American Trucking Association. Yeah. Listen to what he told me about the effects that this strike is going to have on the eastern states.
We've got southeast United States, half of North Carolina, parts of Georgia, southern Virginia that are underwater or under mud digging out. These people need help. And now we're going to shut down 36 ports. All the commerce going in and out of this eastern half of the country, 46% of all agriculture is exported out of our East Coast ports. This is not the time for a strike. This administration needs to get these parties to the table and get a deal.
What do you make of that comment, especially the
So as you guys can see, and it's crazy, this is coming up soon in a couple hours here, right at midnight. So as he said, this is going to have a tremendous effect on trucking. It's going to have a tremendous effect on everything, I believe, on everyone's jobs, because this is going to cause such a delay, and the ports are going to be backed up, and the port workers are going to be on strike. So that's manufacturing jobs, construction, medical jobs. This means like everybody, I believe, is at risk here. And the thing I heard too also is like for every 1 day that the ports are on strike, it's like 7 days for us. It takes, if they're on strike for 1 day, it takes 7 days for all that work to be made up.
Timing, now that you've got a disaster unfolding in North Carolina, these people are going to need food.
And you also have the hurricane that just tore up areas of Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, Tennessee, and more. And like she said, these people are going to need food. They're going to need supplies. So to me, this is a very dire situation. And for some reason, it seems like a lot of people don't even know about this yet. And it's coming up tonight at midnight.
They're going to need supplies.
I think he's on the mark. You know, there are some ports on the East Coast, I believe with Del Monte, that are non-union, and sure, they could bring in some fruits, but nearly not enough for the whole country. The spoilage will probably start.
So if you haven't heard, I would expect higher inflation, you know, on all products, grocery, general merchandise, on everything, because if those ports shut down, it's going to have a tremendous effect on our economy, and very, very quickly. I don't think the grocery stores or anything are crazy yet, but if I were you guys, I would definitely make sure that you have some essentials, because we don't know in the next 2 or 3 days how this might go. You know, I don't want to be a negative person or a fear monger, but we have to be prepared. And who knows, maybe a deal could be reached before midnight, but they've been talking about this for some time. And I believe the union and the ports, they haven't even met in 3 months. And as Biden said, the federal government isn't going to get involved. So it looks like this is going to happen.
I would, in my opinion, think after a week of goods sitting at the piers or docks that are offloaded, you have bulk goods, chemicals, grains, and so forth on the inbound that will be impacted for processing. And again, the American farmers and agriculture, they're really going to get hurt, because this is their harvest season, and these are exports that are needed to be shipped out.
Certainly.
It sounds like everybody's going to be hurt. We've heard for weeks that big companies were able to front load their orders and bring in things ahead of an anticipated strike. What about small businesses? Who's really going to be nailed on this?
That's a great point. Big companies usually prep. They have enormous supply chains. They have multiple distribution centers, the West Coast, all over the country. But when you look at a small importer who's bringing in a couple of containers a month, that's their livelihood, they don't have the ability, especially to front load with cash flows. You have to remember, if they're bringing in.
So here are all the ports that are going on strike, right? This is the majority, of course, majority of the ports in our country plan on going on strike tonight at midnight. And we're going to watch this video some more, but I'll let you guys know what I believe the effect on trucking is going to be, and the effect on dispatch.
Early, they have to hold inventory longer. So at the end of the day, in my opinion, the real injustice will be to those small companies just trying to get by with inflation, high interest rates. Those are the guys that are going to have to maybe lay off a person or lose their business, because you have to remember one thing: if there's a cancellation from a retailer.
And also look for major layoffs, right? Because there may not be any work for a lot of people if these businesses aren't getting supplies in. You know, businesses, and we all depend on supplies. You know, getting our supplies, whatever we need for our household, or for corporations, whatever they need to run their company, they depend on getting those supplies. You know, without those supplies coming in, or major disruption in those supplies, they're not going to just keep paying people for nothing, you know, just to show up at work.
Saying, hey, I'm sorry about your problems, but everyone has the same problems, and you were supposed to have your goods in by this date, and they don't come in. It's either a severe discount or a cancellation. And if they have goods that happen to be for holiday, whatever it may be, Christmas, they're going to have to hold on to those goods for another year if they want to keep them and have the inventory. So this really impacts them the most.
Thank you. Chair Gensler, leadership comes from the top, correct?
So that was that video, guys. And just to let you know about my thoughts on this, like I said, one day of the ports shutting down is like, it's going to take 7 days for that to be made up, right? So imagine if the ports are shut down for a week. It's going to take about 49 days, about 50 days for that to be made up, right? And if they're shut down for 3 weeks, the time to handle that backlog is just going to become longer and longer. It's going to be a severe backlog at those ports. So we'll have to see how this plays out, how long this strike is going to last. But even 3 days, if it lasts 3 days, we're going to start seeing the impact on our shelves at the grocery stores. You're going to see higher prices. You're going to see less items. You're probably going to see damaged items with a higher price tag. You're going to see our fruits and vegetables. You're probably going to see almost rotting fruits and vegetables at the grocery store that's higher, much higher than the prices now, 2 or 3 times higher. So I would suggest everyone get to the grocery store today. Gas, fuel up. Fuel is probably going to go up. And of course, that hurts trucking a lot. But there may not be, honestly, there may not be that many loads. You know, if the ports shut down. So this is what I believe would happen with trucking. Of course, if the ports are shut down, loads are going to dry up. There's not going to be a lot of work, right? If the ports are shut down. So we just have to see how long this plays out. But so the thing about trucking and dispatching, ports shut down, loads are going to dry up tremendously, right? But you got to realize it's a lot of work that needs to be done at the ports as they're on strike. And there's cargo ships out in the ocean and they can't be rerouted. They need to drop off the product that they have. So that's just going to be a big buildup of shipments on the ports and in the ocean, right? And when the ports open back up, they're going to get flooded with these ships trying to drop off material. So I believe it could have a very devastating effect on trucking. Loads could slow up, but when it opens back up, I'm telling you now, it's going to be crazy. It's not going to be enough trucks for loads. It's going to be too many loads and too few trucks, right? So definitely we'll have to see how long this goes on, but I could see rates increasing very drastically, right? We're going to go through some time of no loads and it's going to be very hard. I'm hoping it doesn't last that long. Even if it lasts 5 to 7 days, that's not that long, but the effect on the back end with all those loads backing up, the effect that it would have would be tremendous. And I don't believe that there will be enough trucks for all the loads. And I believe rates would be very high. So it's like a 2-part problem, or it's 2 parts of this to me when it comes to trucking. First part is no loads coming out the ports, truck drivers sitting pretty much everywhere. And then after the ports open back up, it's going to be very crazy. So I will say, I hope everything goes okay with this. I hope the ports don't shut down. And if they do, I hope that, we get over this quickly, that the ports aren't shut down for 2-3 weeks, because the impact on the economy is going to be devastating. We're going to see an outrageous amount of inflation, and I mean quick. This isn't going to take a long time to happen. This is going to happen quick within the next couple of days. So that's going to be the first part, the first impact to trucking and dispatching. And then, to me, the ports have to open back up at some time. They can't stay closed forever. And when they do open back up, if that's a matter of days or a matter of weeks, trucking is going to be very, very busy. And there are going to be more loads out there than we ever seen, because everything has gotten backed up. So if you are in trucking, if you are a truck driver, if you're an owner operator, or you're a dispatcher, you have anything to do with trucking, these days, I think you just have to look ahead of times and see how you can make money, right? Because I know, the economy's hurting. A lot of people are hurting in this day and age, right? So what me as a business owner, what I do is I try to look ahead, right? I know the ports are probably going to shut down, right? So what you need to do, you need to kind of like maneuver yourself, like to be ahead of things, right? So now you might have to kind of like get those supplies you need and make sure you and your family are secure and safe. But then at the same time, what's important to remember, you have to maneuver yourself like in front of the money, right? So because if the ports are shut down and they're open back up, it's pretty much facts that it's going to be a huge backlog of loads. So we're going to go from hardly no loads to more loads than we have ever seen. So I just wanted to come on here, give you guys a quick update on that. Also, if you guys haven't, make sure you click the link in the description of this video. I'll leave the link to my Leads2Drivers Dispatcher Community. I'm in there a lot now. So if you're wanting to talk to me a little one-on-one, or where you want to get in the chat, I got a free chat in there too. So sometimes when I'm not on social media, I'm busy within my community. So make sure you click that link below, and hopefully I'll come back on here live maybe later on today or tomorrow and give you guys another update.